Well, hello, Mr. O here, and welcome to part two, technically part three, but it's the second one you guys are going to see. And I'm going to show just two quick techniques in this video. One, which I call stabbing, and the second, dry brushing. I'm hoping that the white will be dried by time I show you some stuff. And so what I'm going to do is, whether you're doing a tree, a bush, sometimes clouds, you can create through a technique called just pressing, and I call it stabbing. And I want you to just look at my brush, how I'm not crushing it. You don't want to just, push down as hard as you can. Everything with your paintbrush should only be happening in the top half, not the bottom half. So I'm gonna get my brush wet a little bit because remember, I am using tube paint and it could just use a little softening up. And I'm gonna actually go to my yellow first, and I'm just gonna go pure yellow. I'm gonna make a yellow bush, and you can kind of see that the black's coming through. This was a white canvas that I just painted black. I like the effect, and as you can see in the yellow, it's already given me like shadows and stuff like that. But now when I add the green, I'm not even cleaning my brush. I'm going to do some layering, and I'm gonna get some dark green now. This is why it's nice to have three different colors going. I hope this kind of makes sense. And you can see why you could do clouds. And if I was doing clouds, I might put a little twist to it. Might go back in, just grab a little more yellow because I might have blended too much. And that's the danger of stabbing, is when you might blend too much. It's very easy to do. I might just grab a little bit of white, get that in there for another layer, get some highlights down there. And look at that. I'm starting to like what I'm seeing here. And there is a lot of back and forth, and it creates these beautiful effects. And get the darker green for some shadowing. And I hope this makes sense on the stabbing. And I keep going back and forth until I get the right texture, but you can kind of see with just doing a corner. If I was doing the top of a tree, if I was doing a bush, if I was doing clouds, these are techniques these are just simple, easy techniques. And I'm just using a basic round brush. Some people like the flat brush. I don't think it's as nice. I usually use a round brush. And sometimes, you know how I said most of your actions in the top half? Once these bristles break down, two things this brush can be used for. One, great for stabbing, because you're not as worried about ruining or breaking things. The other thing is also for dry brushing. As you can see, I kind of have an old brush right here. I'm gonna just grab, once again, I'm gonna get a little moisture, just get the brush a little soft. This one is pretty old. It's actually could be older than me. It's one that was kind of donated to me from a person from long ago. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of loosening some stuff up. And what I want is I don't want it too wet, and I want to be able to make some marks. And this is called dry brushing. Now, I got a little too much water on that, and that's the easy thing to do. When you do this, you got to make sure that it's called dry brushing, right? So I accidentally got too much water, so I'm gonna go back through. And I think I got enough, and then watch this. There we go. See, the yellow is much different, and I probably got to reload. But they do make these dry brushing brushes, and they make things a little bit easier. I do not have them in my art room. I could do it on the paper first. Got a little green in there, that's okay. And I can just start making a glow effect. And I've never really used these. I've always used old brushes. In my art room, in my 2D side, that's not the painting room, underneath the very first sink, I got a bunch of old brushes. People wonder why I save all the old brushes. And the reason for it is for this. In case a student wants to do dry brushing, and as you can see, I'm starting to work this glow. I'm kind of getting it into the yellow. I might go back in with a little white, but this is how you can create some nice effects. And you can layer it too, but let's probably let the layers dry in between. So if I'm gonna go back in with maybe a little white to accent that, I probably will let that dry first, because remember, this is not a blending technique, this is called dry brushing. So I hope it makes sense on what these two techniques are. In the first video, I showed you, basic setup, the dotters, the palette knives. Now I've showed you what dry brushing and the stabbing technique is. And in the final video, I'm going to show you the fan brush, the notorious fan brush. So guys, you have a beautiful, beautiful day. You guys are never alone, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.